When a river is polluted, the world loses a heartbeat. In Peru, the Marañón River, a 1,000-mile tributary of the Amazon, once carried the voices of the Cucama people, until oil spilled into its veins. But from that wound, a movement was born. A woman named Mariluz Cañaquiri Murayari and a group of determined Cucama women decided that the river must have a voice, its own legal right to exist. And across the ocean in the Netherlands, another woman asked a radical question. What if every river on Earth could be drinkable again? I am Besjana Guri, and this is River Women, a podcast from Lumi. Today we travel from the Amazon to Europe to meet two women transforming the way we see rivers, as living beings and as teachers. In the Loreto region of Peru, the Cucama people call the Marañón River Mother of Waters. In 2010, that mother was poisoned. A massive oil spill poured into the river, blackening its surface and the lives around it. From this tragedy rose one of the most courageous environmental movements in Latin America.
Y para nosotras, el río Marañón es muy sagrado porque es un ser vivo, porque la madre de los ríos para nosotras.
For us, the Marañón River is sacred because it is a living being. For our people, the mother of all rivers is Yaku Mama. There are other beings that live in the water, and their spirits are people to us. That is why we ask that the Marañón River and its tributaries be recognized as a living person, so it can be free from pollution, so it can flow freely, and so it can be respected, especially by the large companies that come to destroy the Amazon, the lungs of the world. As a woman, this is what I have focused on, because I see so many difficulties.
Todo tipo de dificultades.
Mariluz, a Cucama leader and president of Wainakana Kamatahuracana, united 29 indigenous communities. Together, they filed a historic lawsuit demanding legal personhood for the Marañón River. In March 2024, a Peruvian court granted the Marañón River legal personhood, naming the Cucama as its official guardians. For the first time, the river could speak through its people.
Para mí personalmente era una alegría poder tener ese gran logro, primera vez en el Perú, poder lograr ese trabajo que realmente me hizo sentir muy orgullosa como mujer, como madre, como lideresa.
For me personally, it was a great joy to achieve this milestone. For the first time in Peru, we were able to accomplish this work, and it made me feel deeply proud as a woman, as a mother, and as a leader. This achievement was the result of teamwork with the sisters of my organization, our organizations Vena, Kana, and Kamatahuana, as well as other allies who supported us from afar. We also received the support of international lawyers who stood with us, including our friend Curiel and Peruvian lawyers as well. Together with them, we carried out this case and followed it through every step of the process.
Posible cuando uno se trata de poder hacer las cosas para un bien común de todos y todas.
Mariluz's story is proof that indigenous knowledge is not ancient history. It's our future. A way of seeing rivers not as resources, but as relatives. From the Amazon, we travel north to the Netherlands, where Leon Poa turned a single question into a global movement. What if every river was drinkable again?
It started actually by experiencing a river by canoe in northern Canada and realizing that that river was still drinkable. So I wanted to filter my bottle and they said, no, you don't need to. You can just drink straight from the river like this. And then I did it, the gesture of drinking directly from the river. And then a tear came rolling down my cheek, and I realized, wow, this is a beauty, a profoundness of beauty that I had not experienced before. And so that shifted all kind of worldviews and assumptions and my place in the world as well. And so I started to see how, if that guides me in the direction, if it becomes my guiding principle in life, it will inform my decisions I'm making. And so first, after that experience, I was 24, I used it as my personal guidance. And after 10 years, I shared with more the world, the public, that I was working towards a world with drinkable rivers, to however I could do it.
Since then, Leanne has walked over 15,000 kilometers along rivers across 4 countries, measuring water quality, educating children, and reimagining the economy through the lens of water.
This is how I started. And so fast forward from that moment, very intimate to the river, to 10 years later, speaking it out, that I do it. Then 3 years later, after speaking it out, I walked my first river from source to sea. It was a 1,000-kilometer river from France to the Netherlands, the Meuse. And it was the river that had fed me with drinking water all my youth. So I realized I don't know where my water is actually coming from. And I want to know the significance of this river. I want to know the river and the river family, where we are sharing our water bloodline. And so from that river walk, it has become now a whole community of all the rivers that I started to walk. So the past 10 years, I walked 10 rivers and I stayed in contact. And these river families are being activated. So sometimes I provide tools or a guide, or we have a book and films, so that they can act as a river family towards a similar shared direction, namely the drinkable river.
Her message is simple but radical. A drinkable river means healthy forest, clean air, and just communities. It means rethinking progress not as growth, but as balance.
Now it's much easier because I have much more visibility. People know about it. And I am actually quite surprised that I don't get many criticism.
Marie-Luz and Leanne speak different languages, but the river translates them both. One fights for its rights, and the other teaches us to listen. And in that conversation between law and love lies the future of our planet.
Los ríos son muy importantes porque es vital para nosotros, es muy sagrado. Pero también estamos haciendo de ejemplo para las demás mujeres, para también otros países que emprenden, porque realmente si no nos unimos...
Rivers are very important because they are vital to us. They are sacred. But we are also setting an example for other women and for other countries that are beginning this work. Because if we do not unite now for the future, our generation will suffer greatly. That is why we must think now, act now, and commit now, so that future generations, those who come after us, can have a full life, a good life, a life of dignity for everyone. This is what we, as women, wish for the generations to come. We are opening an important path for life, and we hope that others can do the same wherever they live, in their own territories. This news was important. It was big, but we do not want it to remain only as news or only on paper. We want it to become real. That is what we are working for.
Toda esa noticia, nosotros no queremos que se quede solo en noticias, solo en papel. Queremos que esta noticia sea real. Eso es lo que buscamos nosotras.
I commit to this as my life work. I'm here for the long haul, but I do hope that perhaps the foundation I founded, that can be temporarily, that at some point I can say, let's stop it. It's now in enough books, articles, communities, policies, strategies. It's part of the culture. And I hope that at some point that we can say we don't need an extra foundation like that. The main aim would be to get it into as many people's imagination and longing. To follow what makes your heart sing. And if you know your answer to that, you become so forceful. And if you combine that with your talents and gifts that you have, plus what kind of meaning you want to have in the world. You can be like an arrow. And so follow your singing heart. And if the drinkable river can be useful in whatever you're doing, please adopt the drinkable river as your guiding principle.
Two women, two rivers, one truth that water connects all life, and women are its strongest guardians. From the rainforests of Peru to the canals of Europe, these women remind us that the future of our planet runs through our rivers. When we grant them rights, when we listen to their flow, we protect ourselves. Next, we travel to the Balkans to meet the young women defending Europe's last free-flowing rivers. I am Besjana Guri. This is River Women, a podcast from Lumi.